about how student loan debt is impacting Black and Latino students?
It's disproportionately affecting them more. I recently read that for Black students who graduate 12 years later, they're still paying more than they were starting with when they took the loan out because of the interest. So 12 years after starting the loan, they owe more.
Yeah.
That's exacerbating gaps. That's perpetuating, the haves and the have-nots in it.
Elizabeth Warren is back to doing what she does best, pushing hard for broad student loan cancellation. In this clip from early 2021, she's questioning Miguel Cardona, President Biden's nominee for Education Secretary, pressing him on the crushing weight of student debt in America. Warren paints a vivid picture of the crisis: 43 million borrowers, over $1.5 trillion in debt, and the painful reality that many who carry this burden never even graduated.
Very much. And I understand Senator Warren, who got cut off earlier, is in the room. Senator Warren, if you want to finish your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, Dr. Cardone. You know, I'm reminded by this how difficult it is right now for our students and for our teachers who are having to deal with technical glitches that interrupt their education every day, and why this package is so important to get the resources into our schools so we can get those schools open for learning for all of our kids in person. So thank you. When you and I were interrupted by technical problems, we were talking about the fact that you are a first-generation college student and that the opportunities that were available to go to college without debt a generation ago are just not there now. And we were talking about the 43 million Americans who are struggling with student loan debt, about $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. And at least when I lost you in this process, you were starting to talk about what it means that 40% of those who are dealing with student loan debt don't have a college diploma. So what does that mean in terms of the impact of student loan debt on their lives?
It's a significant impact. I think 1.2 million default every year. And what we do know is if you didn't graduate, you didn't get your degree, your earning potential is not what it would be if you did. So I think what it does is exacerbate issues for those who are unable to pay.
Yeah. And can you say a word about how student loan debt is impacting Black and Latino students?
It's disproportionately affecting them more. I recently read that for Black students who graduate 12 years later, they're still paying more than they were starting with when they took the loan out because of the interest. So 12 years after starting the loan, they owe more.
Yeah.
That's exacerbating gaps. That's perpetuating, the haves and the have-nots in it.
A deep hole that keeps getting deeper. And here's something that may come as a surprise to many Americans. Student loan debt is one of the biggest contributors to rising debt loads by seniors. There are older Americans who are still paying off student loan debt in their 60s, in their 70s, even in their 80s. In fact, tens of thousands of Americans have had their Social Security checks garnished for student loan debt. So, in other words, the impact is felt everywhere. And even before this economic crisis, before this pandemic, the economic effects of student loan debt were holding back our economy. So, Dr. Cardona, this is a crisis. You are in a unique position to be able to do something about it. Congress gave the Department of Education tools to help borrowers with student loan debt. Let me ask you, will you commit to doing everything you can to use those tools to provide borrowers with immediate relief?
Yes, Senator.
Good. And one of those tools is overseeing the Office of Federal Student Aid under your predecessor, Betsy DeVos. That office was on the side of greedy student loan servicers instead of borrowers. Will you commit to developing a plan to reform FSA so that it works for student borrowers instead of for big corporations?
Yes, Senator.
Good. I really appreciate those commitments. They could make an enormous difference in the lives of millions of people across this country. One route that I'm going to continue to urge you to take is administrative cancellation of student loan debt. The law on this is clear. Congress gave the power to the Secretary of Education, and the past two secretaries, and yes, that includes Betsy DeVos, used it. So, if confirmed, that tool will be waiting on your desk when you are sworn in, and that is tremendous power to help. As you know, Majority Leader Schumer and I have outlined how you and President Biden can immediately cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, and I look forward to working with you to provide the relief that our students need. Thank you so much for agreeing to serve.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
She highlights how it hits Black and Latino students especially hard, some still owing more after 12 years because of interest. She even brings up the surprising fact that seniors in their 60s, 70s, and 80s are still paying off loans, with some seeing their Social Security checks garnished. It's a powerful emotional appeal showing how student debt ripples through the entire economy, holding back everything from home buying to retirement. Cardona agrees with her points and commits to using the tools available at the Department of Education to provide relief and reform the Federal Student Aid Office, which Warren criticizes for citing too much with loan servicers under the previous administration. The core of her message is clear: use executive authority for administrative cancellation, specifically up to $50,000 per borrower, something she and Chuck Schumer had outlined for Biden. She reminds Cardona that past secretaries, including Betsy DeVos, used similar powers. So the legal pathway exists. This exchange captures a bigger debate that's raged for years. Supporters see massive cancellation as essential relief, especially after the pandemic, arguing it would boost the economy and correct systemic inequities. Critics point out fairness issues. Why reward borrowers while responsible people who paid off loans or avoided debt get nothing? There's also the moral hazard. Does this encourage more expensive college choices and higher tuition long term? And of course, the trillion-dollar price tag ultimately falls on taxpayers. Warren's style here is classic, relentless, data-driven, and laser-focused on using government power to deliver immediate help. Whether you agree with her solution or not, the clip shows how central this issue remains in American politics. Student debt continues to shape lives, careers, and policy fights even today.